Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to learn about some math objects. So for example, if you want to create a program in which you want to calculate some values or you want to do some mathematical operations, then the math objects are specifically used in those programs. So for example, if you want to access the value of pi, which is used in order to calculate the area of the circle or the circumference of the circle, instead of typing out the whole value, you could just simply use the math objects in order to print out the value. So for example, if you want to access the value of pi, you simply use the math object math and then give a dot operator and then type pi. So for example, let's go ahead and let's access the value of pi. So let's say if you want to print the value of pi, you simply use document dot write, and inside the value, instead of typing 3.14, you simply type the math, which stands for math object. And if you want to access the value of pi, you just give a dot operator and then type pi in capitals. Now if you save the code, you will observe that the value of pi gets printed out onto the web browser. Now there are various such mathematical functions which can be used in order to perform mathematical operations by using the math objects. So for example, let's say we want to create a program which is used to calculate the square root of a number. So let's go ahead and create a simple program which is used to calculate the square root. So let's say we want to accept the number from user, so we could do that by using the prompt. So we type prompt and then we ask the user to enter a number. So we type enter a number and make sure that you also add the second parameter by giving a comma and double quotes. Now let's say you want to store this number into some variable. So we type var number equals to this. Now as you want to calculate the square root of a number, we use the math object. So we type math, and to calculate square root we give a dot operator and then we type sqrt. So sqrt is basically a method in the math object which is used to calculate the square root. Now in the parentheses we need to specify the number which we want to pass on so that the square root of that number could be calculated. So in this case we are going to pass the number which we have obtained from the prompt. So once we have these things with us, we are also going to need one more variable which is going to store the result. So we go ahead and create the result variable. So we type var result and then we equate it to the math.square root method. So now once we have these things in place, we just simply need to go ahead and just print out the final result. So we are going to use the alert box in order to do so. So we type alert and then we finally print out the answer which is present in the result. So we type result into the alert box. Now once we are done with this, we save the code and then let's go ahead and execute it. So a prompt just popped up and let's enter a number, let's say 16, and when we hit OK, it is going to display a message which displays the square root value, which is 4. So the square root of 16 is 4, so it is giving us the value as 4. So that's how you create a simple program in order to just calculate the square root of a number. So initially we have used the prompt and we have stored the result from the prompt onto the number variable. Now we are using the same number variable which we are passing on to the square root method of the math object. So in this case, right over here we are making use of the math object. So that's where the math object is used. There are multiple number of methods which can be used in the math object which are specifically useful while you perform some mathematical operations like calculating square root and squares as well as calculating the area of circle. So that's it for this tutorial and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.